Hello.
Huh? We're live? Who?
And welcome.
What? Hey? What? Huh?
You sound like Jordan Peterson trying to understand the concept
What?
of gender.
What?
Who, what, there, where,
What?
why? It's so confusing.
The doctor cut off her breast.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Yes,
Let's see
yes,
who cancels who.
Exactly.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing
I was
fine.
muted. I'm
Oh.
like, why is nobody hearing me?
Oh, so you're being very silent.
I know.
Damn, this joke is not landing.
Jeez, I'm terrible.
Oh, God. Yeah, how are you guys? And how is everyone in the comments? Or the chat, I guess.
The chat?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So, I think it's important to go ahead and note this. There's this newer YouTuber. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. I think he's Danish. But like I think his name is like actual Danedom, and apparently he has a new video. Why
Death to all Danes.
Lies about comic books?
It's horrible.
Actual fandom? It must be a Danish word.
Yeah. I've heard that those Danish people have some weird stuff going on. They're also all in cults. That's like one major like red flag. Yeah.
But this is apparently he's got a new video. It's probably good. I don't know. If you're cool with Danish people, I guess check it out.
For sure. And is there anyone wondering why Dane is not here? It is because he has retired. No, he'll be back eventually. But his spirit lives on.
I'm fine telling people the truth, man. We kicked him out. We're done.
Yeah, true. He said the N-word.
He listen. It's not that he is taking a break. We
No, it's not a very well-deserved break, that's for sure. So we have a couple, just a couple short clips from his newest video that are actually outtakes. So it's not a spoiler; it's just a little sneak peek on what the vibe is of the video. So let's listen.
We got to look back to the OGs of comics creators to really see like how should we operate in these crazy days that we're in right now, where the alt-right trying to fucking get their foot in the door. Jack Kirby. The only real politics I knew was that if a guy liked Hitler, I'd beat the stuffing out of him. That would be it. And then, of course, you get these people. What would Kirby have thought about all the current communists? So actually, Kirby did have thoughts about communism. Here's what Kirby thought about communists. He thought they were exactly as fucking a threat and terrible and awful as Nazis. And then years later, he expressed regret for that because he had fallen under a lot of propaganda about communists invading and all this communist, blah, blah, blah. Jack Kirby was wise enough to go, I let some of that shit kind of get the better of me back when everybody was. And now I recognize that it was a little too far. And yeah, he essentially retracted that shit. And I'm not a communist. I'm not going to sit here and fucking endorse communism. I'm just saying that like to act like they're the same thing, to try to throw out communism whenever somebody's talking about fucking Nazis. I'm curious about your motives there, man.
So yeah,
I don't know. That sounded pretty woke to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
and that's an outtake. All right,
that's an outtake. So there's some real heat in this video, people. Yeah. Yeah.
Caught me mid-snack.
Oh God. We have another clip, but we'll save that for the intermission because there'll be one.
The intermission? What?
Yes.
We're doing intermission?
Wait, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, we're leveling up this shit. Okay, Dane is gone, and we're making some changes. So yeah. I hope everyone's.
I mean, do we have anything to discuss about Dane? I mean,
no.
I mean, what are you guys doing?
Nothing.
Did you guys have a good day?
Nope.
We had a storm last night. I didn't have any power or electricity for several hours, but I'm okay outside of that.
Damn.
No.
That sucks.
Okay. Just a side note, like weather has been like, at least in my area, just wet and cold and miserable. Like,
yeah, I mean, well, actually,
sex life. Sorry.
I was going to say that's funny. It's been wet and hot here for us. It's actually warm, or was warm while it was raining. So it was like, Then it got cold a little bit, but then it's going to be warm again tomorrow. So it's a little weird because I live on the East Coast, and typically this time of year it's a lot colder than it is right now. So
I'm on the East Coast too, so it's like like I was like, at least it's not freezing rain, but it's still just it's miserable.
Yeah,
it's just cold.
For once in Denmark, it's actually been, well, it's always cold, but it's been very cold, but then snowy and beautiful like skies. So we've actually been very lucky here.
Yeah,
it hasn't been too wet.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's nice. It's actually it's been pretty crazy just in like Scandinavia in general. It's been like some of the coldest and wettest years in like history, while the rest of the world has just been struggling with heat and fucking natural disasters and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like it's crazy, but like
Bob's on cam.
Oh wow!
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm going to test my internet because it's being a little wonky, but I think we're still good. We'll give this a shot.
My camera just does not want to connect, and it hasn't been wanting to for a couple weeks. I'll try to get it fixed, but yeah.
You need a new camera. You need a more expensive one.
I do. I do.
Something in the $200 range should work for you, I think. So
damn it.
Actually, I should send you one. I have an extra one right here. I could just send it over, like for you.
Just like through the screen.
Yeah.
Teleport it over. Thanks, man. All right.
Your turf. Take this.
But yeah. So has anything happened recently?
There's a lot of stuff that's happened if you're talking about the internet.
There hasn't been any Star Wars theory stuff, has there?
Oh, there's been a lot of Star Wars theory stuff. Actually, he uploaded a 4-minute clip with him and someone that may look familiar. We'll talk about her in a second, but do we want to watch this clip and see what's actually going on here?
I haven't seen that much yet.
You haven't seen it? Well, here we go. The name of the clip that he shared says, I asked a psychologist and relationship expert, Sadia Khan, what she thought about this whole Star Wars situation with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Now, it's a 4-minute clip. I don't think we're going to have to watch the whole thing. So let's just watch a bit of this. And let's see if Star Wars theory is sounding a little bit, I don't know, chuddy, grifty. Let's
never.
See can't possibly. Never. The biggest Star Wars channel?
The final question I have, and it's going to be a Star Wars question. So
okay, go ahead. I've never seen Star Wars in my life. But,
no, it relates to.
By the way, before we get into this, I want people to pay attention to her mannerisms when he's talking about this question, because she's totally hamming it up a little bit here. You'll see what I'm saying here in a second.
But we're so once Disney took over Star Wars, they started to change the whole infrastructure around and really, kind of dog the men and focus on the women a lot.
That's not true. That's not true. That is a perception that this community. Well, he didn't originally have this perception, but it's the perception the community has tried to build around.
Because they did one sequel trilogy that stars a woman. That's it. Like we're going to ignore like Mandalorian. We're going to ignore pretty much all the Star Wars stuff that's come out that stars a man.
I just feel like if you want to say that there's more women present in Star Wars, I'll go okay. Maybe that's.
I'll definitely give you that.
But adding more women doesn't mean dogging the men.
No, not at all.
Anyway, here we go.
In the sense where there wasn't much training and this and that. There's a new director for one of the Star Wars movies, and she says it's about time that a woman come in and shape the Star Wars movies and galaxy. And it's causing a huge uproar on the internet. So many people are saying this is ridiculous. We've had women in Star Wars Galaxy before. And
okay, so pause there. So if you have, what difference does it make that she says this? I mean, if you agree that women have already been present in Star Wars and she's coming in with like full like pro-woman energy, then what's the problem? Yeah. What's the issue? Right?
I mean, this would be the first woman directing a feature film. So it sounds like it's about time to me. So
I mean, the thing is, like, people want to say that this is Star Wars pushing it, but it's not. It's her. This is her statement. Like, this was her coming into this. This isn't like Lucasfilm pushing this or something like that. She was proud to be the first woman directing a Star Wars movie, and I think she should be allowed that. I mean, that's something that's a big deal considering how many Star Wars movies have we had now. I mean, outside of the what is it, like 9 like main storylines? There's
12 official movies overall.
Right. So 12 movies and they've never had a woman direct it before. Yeah. I mean, it is about time that a woman directed a star. Give a woman a chance to put her perspective on it. And the thing is, nobody's saying that the movie's going to be amazing. Like, I haven't heard her say it's about time. Yeah. Yeah. Hedgehog nerd. So it's about time that a woman directs it. It could be a dumpster fire. It could be bad.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet. That's the thing. So getting mad when I asked the people in the comments for my video where I talked about this, like, why are you mad now? Like, why are you mad at the beginning when it just happened or whatever? We don't know anything about this movie other than the character it's based on and the premise, but we don't, that's it. We no trailers, no real other casting information, nothing. All right. So let's keep going here. She talks in a second and then we'll,
other people are saying, well, you know, people's egos that are having a problem with this are very fragile and their masculinity is fragile.
Yep.
What's your overall consensus when a female director wants to come in and reshape something and say, you know, it's plant that flag? That
what does reshaping mean in this context, though? What does that mean?
I have no idea. Like, is he trying to say women have never been like a noteworthy force?
I'm trying to get to her, but Jesus, he's saying dumb shit. Reshape?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, Star Wars theory in general is also just very, very like hung up on George Lucas being like the only person he'll allow to do Star Wars except for himself and stuff. Like he's
except when he steals people and makes like AI movies.
Like he's very defensive of how he wants Star Wars to be. And then like I think a new director coming in having their own vision and their own movie that they want to make, to him is probably reshaping a movie because he's so stuck up in his own like fantasy of what Star Wars is.
I haven't heard anybody from Lucasfilm officially say that's the plan. You know what I mean? That's why it's just all speculation at this point.
I mean, if he's stuck up on George Lucas, I mean, what does he think of Princess Leia? I mean, she was not like
well, I mean, George Lucas has some comments. I've got a video clip of that too, where he talks about like the premise of Star Wars and the whole political social thing. What were you going to say, Turf?
Like just regarding Leia, like wasn't George Lucas's original idea for like a sequel trilogy had to do with Leia in like a lead role? I'm pretty sure that was like one of his thoughts.
I'm pretty sure she was. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know in the sequel trilogy originally she was supposed to have a much bigger role in Episode 9, which obviously didn't happen. But
for obvious reasons.
I mean,
All right, so let's try to get to Sadia here because this is a lot of dumb shit. So
hey, I'm a woman, and you know, hear me roar. Here is my way of making this sort of franchise, which is already.
Why do they? God, so dumb. Why do they make it sound like she had some big, huge statement about this? All she said was she thinks it's about time that a woman had a chance to make a Star Wars movie. But they hear a bunch of things that no one said. It's just like, what the
hear
fuck?
Me roar. What the fuck is he on about?
What the actual fuck? That's why people say that their ego is so fragile because they make stuff up like that. Like you don't have to make it up. Just say what she said and then be like, I don't like this. You don't have to like add stuff onto it.
No.
Anyway.
Established now something that's feminine dominant or female dominant, whatever it might be, instead of just a good story.
Okay, so that's another thing. Instead of, this is what I hear quite often. Instead of, something can be dominated by women and still be a good story. There is no either or. There's not like choose one or the other. This isn't like if you choose a good story, you can't have women. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way that works.
For some reason, they always like create this like dichotomy between, is it going to be a good story or is it going to be a female dominated story? And it's like what?
And also someone like her, because we're going to talk about her in a second, her background before we finish this up. But for someone who is supposed to be such an intelligent person that actually went to school and did all these studies or whatever, to do a podcast with him and listen to what he's saying and not totally break this down and go, okay, hold on. Are you smart? Because what you're saying, a lot of this doesn't make any sense. But
a person with a supposed like psychology degree and I think also like a high school teacher, just had no critical thinking in this situation. It's just insane.
I'm just listening to Star Wars Theory, and I'm wondering if he ever actually understood Star Wars at all.
Oh, no, probably not. All right, let's hopefully she'll get her segment out here. I thought for sure she'd be talking about now. We're a minute into this clip.
Yeah, I think what happens particularly in Western cultures where women have it so easy, but they pretend they're not. What happens with women who generally have it quite easy?
She's a pick me when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't know if that's how she is like normally, but when it comes to things like this, we'll talk about some of her other takes here in a second. But yeah, she does a lot of this like, oh, we have it so good, we shouldn't ask for anything more kind of mentality. So
that's crazy.
Enjoy victimhood because that's the only way that they can feel part of other people's.
Can we please explain how this woman that is a victim because she said it's about time for women to direct a Star Wars? How can a person that is supposedly a life coach and a psychologist, how can they determine that based on not only what he just said, which was a bunch of bullshit about it, but on her statement? How is that being a victim? And we're going to talk about Sharmeen as well.
Yeah. And also like how the hell are like they're sitting here having this discussion about like pretending to be the victim coming from like a man who's a multimillionaire who has a like fucking massive house, his own cinema and Lamborghini, right? With 3 million subscribers, and he's getting like this angry that he had to call up a psychologist to talk about
woman. By the way, he's talking about women negatively. So he specifically went out of his way to get a woman psychologist,
someone who can just like validate his victimhood. That's basically what he's doing, right? And then they're sitting here talking about like, oh, all these women in the West, they have it so good, they just want to play the victim. When that's what Star Wars Theory and all these other fucking chuds do all the time.
I also want to point out that you know, he says, I guess this was the end of the video that he made because he said that one final question, it's about Star Wars or whatever. Let it be known that regardless of what that whole video was, this is all the video was about, was getting to this question.
Yes.
That was it. He wanted to make it seem like he was having a conversation with her that didn't revolve around Star Wars on a channel called Star Wars Theory. Think about that for a second. This was the question that he wanted to get answered. Let's give her a couple more seconds here, then we'll move on. But yeah, this is you get the idea.
Struggle. What makes human beings feel alive is when they're a bit struggling, when they're going through something, where they've gone through a bit of trauma, they've gone through something, it makes them feel alive. What's happened with women in the Western world particularly is because there is no real oppression, but they want to be a victim so bad because victimhood is just a way of kind of shortcutting sympathy. Everyone it's just shortcut entitlement. You get what you want without having to earn it because you just happen to be a victim.
Bro, okay, I'm gonna stop it there.
She's speaking to a multi-millionaire who's crying about his Star Wars movies. Like, what the?
Not only that, let me just correct. So we're going to end because pretty much that's the rest of this interview goes the way you expect it to go. It's just more of that. But I want to preface this by saying that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is a woman from Pakistan. She's not from the Western world.
No.
Who has spent her life being an activist against actual victims. Women that were attacked with acid attacks, honor killings, child trafficking, all of these things that have been going on in Pakistan. She's made several acclaimed documentaries about it. So she's talking about Sharmeen, this woman of color who has been in the trenches with some of these actual victims of acid attacks, like massive scarring on their faces where their fathers and uncles try to marry them off to somebody else in a family to keep all that together, you know, to do the whole like our family, your family kind of thing. Just this situation that she's brought attention to, she's demeaning that woman as being a privileged Western woman that is crying over nothing because she was hired to make a Star Wars movie. Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah. And validating. Again, I keep saying it, right? And it's the case with all these fucking people who have more money than they need, right? Who are doing the exact same thing that she's calling out here, right? Just finding things that don't really matter to just get this pissy about and have to complain online about it.
And I don't have to show you guys the multitude of videos that have been made. I'm actually shocked at how many anti-Star Wars videos have come out in the last week since this news came out. It's incredible.
They're getting
they are losing their mind because a woman was hired to direct a Star Wars movie. Because this goes against everything they've said. I want to be very clear here that they have said Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired, that Star Wars is dead, blah, 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 whatever. And then they go, hey, by the way, we're hiring a woman to do the next movie, and now they're losing their fucking minds because they have to keep their audiences angry and upset, but also feel like they're winning the culture war. Please explain to me how anything they've done in regards to Star Wars, with the exception of them trying to change the tone of a movie because the fans seem to have an issue with it, which was a massive fail on their part because the fans still didn't like it at that point.
Yep.
You know, well, not everybody, but a majority of people on the internet with loud voices. But they have to keep everybody angry and upset. And my whole stance on this, and this has been my stance from the beginning, when I first heard this news, is it's okay if you don't think that someone is qualified to make the move. Like if you go, I don't think that person is qualified, right? That's okay. However, trying to attack Sharmeen's character, trying to attack who she is as a person, trying to attack her activism, she has actually saved fucking lives. And you're sitting here, these guys are sitting here and attacking her because she was hired to make a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. It's so fucking backwards. And also just like the whole conversation about women in Star Wars. I don't know. Do we have that clip from this segment where it's like
I tried to find it. That one is buried. I'd have to go through a bunch of his live streams. But yes, he's made statements about women in Star Wars. Let me see if I can find it quickly. While we're doing that though, or while I'm looking that up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna bring this up because I brought up her IMDb. It's not full of stuff, but like, you know, she worked on Miss Marvel, so like she's already has experience in working with a major studio on a project. Honestly, like this is the type of thing. She seems like she's in a position to get hired by Disney to do a big project, kind of like as her big break. This kind of seems like the appropriate time for her. You know, and they always like talk about like how like, you know, don't you want to hire like a big name for a multi-million-dollar project? And the answer for most of these studios is no, because a big name is expensive,
right?
And they are going to work on their own projects because they can do their own projects because they have that skosh. So it makes sense to find somebody who is real quick. Find somebody who's less experienced but has the potential to do just as well as a big name. That's somebody the studio is going to look for, and it gives her an opportunity to get her name out there and do a big project and do a good job with it. So
exactly, and it's also
this is the logical thing.
It's also like I don't know about you guys, but like it's also kind of cool to like get, you know, newer filmmakers as well, and like especially with like big projects like these. Like we've said, like her documentaries have been very well received. She's done like work, right? And of course this is her big time having some big budget thing, which is like of course like a big task, right? But it's like would people have liked it better if she had made, I don't know, like the Maze Runner or some shit, you know? Like
I want to point, I've got something on that, but I do want to point out that this is like Sadia's, like these are a few thumbnails from some of the videos she's been a part of. She's connected with Andrew Tate. She's done a lot of videos with Andrew Tate. Tate gets rated by High Value Women. So she's on a podcast about high value women. What do high value women think about Tate? Can we stop with this high value shit? It's just such a dumb fucking, it's like, it's these chud people get so hung up on these fucking stupid terms. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
And it's
high
also
value
like,
women.
It's also like there's no real standards, right? Like so she's what's it called? A high value woman, right, in his eyes, right? Because she's this big special, right? And she speaks against the establishment, right? She has a degree in psychology and stuff. University is something that Andrew Tate is very against, unless it's his own. He does not generally like most people with college degrees because a lot of people tend to be more left leaning and very vocal against. Or at least in disagreement with Andrew Tate, right? But suddenly when it's someone who actually likes him and validates him, then of course, now that's a high value woman. There is no standards to what they say. It's just what they do to make themselves feel good.
And here's another couple of like thumbnails of hers. Why women take no accountability. That's on her channel, by the way. And this is another one on her channel. Powerful men do this. How to be a man she will submit to. That's one of her videos here.
Insane.
That's a 32-minute video, by the way. 32 minutes long.
God. Now,
also,
if you're watching these videos to learn how to talk to women, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Just
and I just want to point out also that you know, for entertainment purposes, I don't see issues with those kinds of videos, but I feel like in social media world, like it gets to the point where people can't distinguish like information from satire or entertainment or whatever. So in that case, I don't think there's an issue, but the problem is we're not in a world where people care about nuance. Nuance just doesn't matter anymore. And I want to point out here also that talking about whether or not Sharmeen is qualified to do a Star Wars movie because of her track record. Let's talk about Richard Marcaines. I think that's how you pronounce his last name, from Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
This was his experience before Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
2 low-budget British movies and a biopic. And then he did Return of the Jedi. So my point being is that track record only matters to the people writing your check. That's it. If they think that she's capable of making the movie, then that's all that matters. We're not the ones hiring. You know, in this situation. I did find the clip with him talking about women, but it's a 5-minute clip from his channel.
Oh,
okay, so I don't know.
It's not there's not much in it, but it's basically he's been going quite a lot recently about how Star Wars isn't for women, and he also asks her, like the psychologist, about it. And she validates him in it, saying that women don't like Star Wars.
Actually, I think I can find that clip. Hold on. Let me.
Okay.
That one I think I still have bookmarked. But while we're looking for that one, I want to share this to the stage as well. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I think I have to open that image new tab, and then we'll do it there. But this is a comment or a post made by the Scoundrels Cantina. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this with this community, and I'll blow it up here so we can read this while I get that clip ready. All right, so they say, can we not do this again? I'm tired of this franchise and the message. Okay, some critical drinker up there. It nonstop. God, this reads poorly. Nonstop goes out of its way to push. Again, critical drinker stuff. What exactly is the new director going to bring to Star Wars that is the least innovative except for more PC crap? I hate to say it, but the new director's comments sound like the same old shit we've seen before, which nothing good comes. And I would be, God, what the fuck? Did he write this super angry or something?
Probably.
He was seething. Woman directs Star Wars. I'm enraged.
Damn it.
I would even be more weary of her since she is the pawn of the WEF and the very same people who want us to be locked down and to eat Z-Bug. This guy is really like...
What the fuck?
What is WEF?
I think it's, let me see. I think it's a women's something foundation. Let me see.
I would guess women.
Oh, World Economics Forum. So it wasn't even about women. It's World Economics Forum. So he's, So
there's also the Water Environment Federation.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's talking about World Economics Forum because he mentions.
No, that's the one that comes up the most. But I'm like,
and then he says here, this is the best part, right? Go back to Pakistan.
Oh, Jesus.
And push for women's right where it actually might be needed instead of now making a 180 turn and directing a bloody Star Wars film that no one ever wanted. There's so much racism and misogyny really pushed into that. Can nothing anymore be... God.
It's also just like, it's always funny when people like this are talking about how there is no misogyny in the West and stuff, and like it's not actually a problem when they are every time a woman is something. Oh, damn,
that makes more sense. Okay,
whenever a woman is in anything nowadays, whether it's an acting role or a directing role, these people get so angry about it, but yet they scream about how there is no misogyny.
Right. So the entire reason that she... All right, here we go. I've got the clip ready. I'll have this ready after this, and then we can move on from here. But it says, can nothing anymore be made by people who actually care about the lore of the universe instead of it always being modern-day political crap? How about it can be both things? How about you can have both of those things? They're not mutually exclusive ideas. They can both exist in the same space. I definitely should have started a Warhammer 40K channel 8 years ago instead of this train wreck. Okay, so anyway, that's another channel, massive channel or creator like... what you call it, Star Wars Theory. But here's the clip. This is the 14-second clip.
And I want to stress, like, this isn't them watching a movie and being mad at what she did to the movie. This is them getting mad at a movie that, like, it's in the script stage now. It's 2 years out.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
That's crazy.
Okay. So here's the last thing from this this life coach, Sadia Khan, who, by the way, I did some research, and it seems like nobody can even find out if she actually went to school. So there's that. Yeah, there's been people that did research on her and says that she would have had to been like 14 years old to be in college when she said she was in college. So I don't know if it's true. This is not me. I'm not saying definitively that she's not. I'm just saying that people on the internet have questioned whether or not.
And there's also like a difference between having a degree in psychology and being like, and also, a lot of people can say they're psychologists, right? But even if you have a degree, there's a big difference between just having a psychology degree and being an authorized psychotherapist and psychologist who has had years and years of experience and is an actual expert within the field. Yeah. Like, if you have a degree, you can call yourself a psychologist, right? And mean something by it. But there's still a big difference. And you also specialize within different things. And she might not, like this specific topic, right? No one knows if it's something she has any expertise in whatsoever. But yeah.
So I want to play the clip. This is like the 14-second clip or whatever that she says the thing.
Yeah.
And here we go. It's very short, but this pretty much wraps up this segment with her because we just probably should move on after this. But anyway, here we go.
Watches them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Watches them. Nobody wants women in there, but they'll just stamp their authority so they can be a local hero. Then we need more women in Star Wars. No, we don't. No one. Women don't even watch Star Wars. They don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. But they want to be like, oh, there's such a deprivation.
That's the clip. So it's a man's thing. Let them have it.
So yeah. Any women in here watching this who thinks they like Star Wars? You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't. You can't like it.
You're not allowed to be a Star Wars. That's a man's thing, okay?
Yeah. But you know what?
Really.
You know what's pretty cool?
What's that? Sorry.
No, I was just about to say that, like, I have a friend who doesn't like Star Wars. So guess what, boys? We can't either.
Right.
Yep. Sucks. Damn. Now there's no
well, it's not even gatekeeping. It's astroturfing. It's early astroturfing because we don't know anything about the movie, but they're already establishing that in their opinion, the woman Sharmeen, who is directing this movie, is a woman who believes in feminism. So therefore, the movie is going to be bad. They're already establishing that. Which, by the way, I want to point out all of these, all of the stuff they're saying about her, like about her comments and everything, come from years ago, back when she was promoting the movies where she was talking about honor killings and acid attacks and stuff like that. So trying to apply those comments to whatever her Star Wars movie is going to be is 100% brain rot. It's just 100%. Either you're too stupid to know that those things don't connect. She would have never even thought about making a Star Wars movie back in 2015.
No.
So it's absolutely brain rot. It's astroturfing. It's just more of this garbage shit that they do. And I honestly think now, existing and doing research on Star Wars community, stuff like that I can say, in my own personal opinion, that what is happening in the Star Wars community is the most toxic of all the fandoms. It's literally the most toxic. And even with the Brie Larson stuff, like, this woman, Sharmeen, does not deserve all of this. Like, it's like none of the women that have been attacked deserve it, but this woman has not even said anything about Star Wars. Like, they're attacking her over stuff that has nothing to even do with the movie, other than saying she's proud to be the first woman working, as a Star Wars director. They're going back and digging up quotes from her from like almost a decade ago about her documentaries.
It's unhinged.
This started with the Rachel Zegler thing, because remember, they went back a year ago and tried to make Rachel Zegler's clip sound like it was talking about stuff from recently. So this is in their playbook. So now what they're going to do is they're going to start going back and digging up clips of women or gay people or trans people or whatever, and they're going to use those and make them seem as if it applies to whatever present stuff they're talking about. And we can go back and find clips of Gary, of Jeremy, of Eric July, all contradicting everything that they're doing now from back then. So if they're going to apply those rules to all of these women, then it needs to be applied to all the creators that these people support. So,
and also like these are the people who hate cancel culture and people digging up old stuff to use against people, and yet they do it themselves. And I completely agree. Like the Star Wars fandom is just like the center of toxic fandom, I believe. Like it has always been toxic since it first came out, right? Like Star Wars fans have been ruthless. But like recently with the sequels, I think that at least for the internet's sake, it has been very detrimental, because that like the Last Jedi stuff has led to everything we're seeing nowadays. Like all this stuff with Brie Larson, with Rachel Zegler, with all these channels, right? Every time something new comes out, it's woke and shit. A lot of this like got big because of The Last Jedi and the Star Wars fandom. There's also other stuff, right? Like Gamergate and Comicsgate, other stuff, of course. But yeah, a lot of it stems from the Star Wars fandom.
I don't know if you guys have even encountered it or not, but because I've made several videos about this already, the fact that people don't understand like this woman's activism and all the good things that she's done should not equal the amount of hate that she's getting because of Star Wars. It doesn't connect in their brain. They don't see how damaging this is to her as an individual.
No.
And I think it's very apparent that at this point, the people that are in these communities, whether it be the geeks and gamers or whatever community, Star Wars theory community, whatever community you're in, these are real people. We have to start thinking about these actors and these directors and everybody on these films. They are real human beings. They're not fake fictional characters existing in a movie or a TV show. These are real people. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's missing from this conversation.
I feel like that could bring us, I don't, if you guys have something else to talk about in this.
I think I'm good.
Yeah. Cause I was just going to say, like, this leads pretty well into another, thing that has happened recently, where there could also be cases of people not on the internet not being too nice to actors playing a role that is despised. I don't know if people know, but Caitlin Dever has recently been cast as Abby in The Last of Us. And The Last of Us, as most people know, whether you've played the games and saw that reaction or the TV show, leads to a lot of the same shit we see, right? If we just go based on the show alone, based on Ellie's casting in Bella Ramsey, people didn't think she was good looking enough for the 14-year-old she's playing. There is the Bill and Frank episode.
Never mind the fact that she was brilliant in the role. Never mind.
She was brilliant, and fully captured a lot of what Ellie is. They also hated the Bill and Frank episode. I can't imagine why. They also, of course, disliked the Left Behind based on the DLC from the original game, which the original game was also very progressive, at least like, especially with the Left Behind DLC, where Ellie has a girlfriend basically, and like, so they had that, and the reaction was just horrible, and it has been horrible to basically the game, The Last of Us Part 2, which is, I think, within video games, one of the most controversial video games that has been out. That has like been made, especially on the internet, just on how much it split people. And one of the main things has to do with Abby as a character. And I just really hope Caitlin Dever all the best. I hope she stays out of like,
stay off social media. Do not log into Instagram or Twitter or anything.
Because I'm pretty sure all three actors for Abby in the video game, both the voice actor, the model, and the face model, all received hate for their role as Abby. All three of them. So I can't imagine that everyone on the internet will be able to understand that the actress is not the character that you hate. The actress is an actress who's been hired to do a job.
Right.
They're just a human being. They're not the character who does things in a video game that you don't like.
I mean, and it's something they have to be prepared for. I mean, a lot of their conversation around The Last of Us Season 1, still they found ways to veer it into Season 2 and bashing into Abby, even though Abby has nothing to do with Season 1 of the show. They still veered it that way just because they like bashing Abby. Because bashing Abby, frankly, like when you're dealing with these YouTubers, bashing Abby makes them money.
I can guarantee, though, if Gina Carano was cast as Abby, all of a sudden she would be their favorite character from The Last of Us.
Yes.
I mean, from a physicality perspective, she would be good casting. From an acting perspective, no. But
yeah, but it's just
not
like
age-wise.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the deal. Like, if someone they like gets cast in a role from a comic book or a video game they don't like, the narrative will be, oh, it will be good now. Like, even though they're literally just playing the character from that property, they'd be like, it's good now. Because I've already seen the people going, she doesn't look like Abby. She's not muscular. Is she going to be able to play this type of role based on the stuff that she's played before? I mean, they're already like laying out the textbook. Like,
actors have never changed their physical appearance for a role. So, that's a logical conclusion.
That'd be awesome.
Also be prepared. I mean, maybe it's been talked about already. I just haven't seen it. I don't see any way they kill Joel off like they did in the second game. I just don't see that.
That's the thing. I was actually expecting there to be maybe some buffer before we got straight to Last of Us season to Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 games, so they could do a couple seasons before they go fully into the second game.
Yeah.
Well, of course, maybe they will. Maybe they'll just introduce Abby early, and we'll see Abby before then.
Yeah, I think and yeah, just in case anyone's in the chat who has not played the games, minor spoilers, but or major spoilers for that sake.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna split it into 2, like season 2. I think they've also been talking about this a bit, and I think Joel isn't gonna die very early on. I definitely think he's probably gonna die in season 2, but it's gonna be way later in the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, there's no way they do it in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I just don't believe it. But
especially also with Pedro Pascal, they're not just gonna kill him off in the beginning of season 2. And also based on the backlash and yeah, there's a lot of time between the 2 games that I think there's a lot that they can do. There's a lot of content there. And also The Last of Us Part 2 is also just a big game. It's significantly longer than the first one with a lot more story in it.
And we see from the first season that they can add narrative to stories, like with episode 3, where it fleshes characters out a bit more.
Yeah, and make it really good. I personally thought the stuff that they took their own liberty with and like created their own stories was actually some of my favorite parts of the show. Like I thought it was really impressive when they did it like scene for scene. I thought that was like well made, but I really enjoyed those times where they like, you know what, here's something new we can add that we want to add, and I thought that was really cool, especially like episode 3.
But I will say, just like I do with everything, I think waiting until you see something to decide whether you like it or not is probably the better path. I mean, even if you're going to be chuddy about it, I respect it more if people wait till something comes out and then they're like, oh, I didn't like it, than to like Astroturf the fuck out of something.
Well, if you spend your whole time on YouTube bashing something and then it comes out, you don't have a motivation.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, how are we supposed to determine if they really liked it or not? I mean, Bob, you've done this on your channel where you see these videos and you know, bless you, because I couldn't sit through all these videos, but you sit through all these videos and like you see all these channels where people spend months, sometimes a year, bashing something, and then they go and see it, and surprise, they don't like it because they've already convinced themselves that they don't like it. They convince themselves they don't like it. It would take a miracle to convince someone they like something if you spent all that time hating it. It makes no sense whatsoever. This is why film criticism, or like people that do it legitimately or supposed to do it legitimately, typically only pay attention to the bits of stuff when it comes out, and then sometimes they some of the people that I watch do film criticism don't even watch trailers. They don't read anything in the news. They just go and watch the movie and then make up their mind about it. I respect that.
So not speaking so much about the reaction, but like I just had a story idea, and we'll see if they do this, because I could see them keeping Pedro Pascal around for a while, but also wanting, like, everybody knows Joel dies at this point because everybody's talked about it. So I guess if you haven't heard, sorry for the spoilers, but Joel dies.
Yeah. And also another spoiler, so click away if you really don't. 1, 2, 3.
If somehow you haven't heard,
yes, it's Abby who does it.
Yeah,
Abby kills Joel.
But it is possible maybe they open with that, but then the season is like a flashback, where we see like a season building up to that event to see exactly where we're at. And I can see them doing something like that, but also wanting to get it out of the way since everybody already knows that happens.
Yeah, and just for like to make sure, like even if Joel dies like properly like in season 2, he's still gonna be in season 3 and season 4 when that gets made and stuff in flashbacks. Because that's also what's in the game, right? Like you do see Joel in flashbacks, right? And they're probably going to do even more of that in the show. Like it's not going to be the end of Joel in that show, but yeah.
Of course, maybe Pedro Pascal will need room in his schedule for Fantastic Four, so we will see.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. They're talking a season 3 and 4. I think it's pretty confirmed that a season 2 and 3 will be made that has to do with The Last of Us Part 2. And I can't imagine that Naughty Dog aren't at least thinking, if not already like pre-production for A Last of Us 3. I can't imagine that they're not going to make the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be made eventually, and then there will be seasons for that. I don't know if it's their next game, probably not, but it's definitely going to be coming eventually, I think. Especially now that this show has been doing so well, it makes sense. And
dude, The Last of Us season 1 was so goddamn good. They did a great job with that.
And that's again like sad. Like I also feel sad, or not sad, because they did it to themselves, right? But like the people who miss out on the potential of enjoying a show just because they spent a year hating on it before it came out, right? And get having their careers depend on you disliking it, right? That's sad, right? Because The Last of Us show isn't for everyone. I thought it was really good, and a lot of people thought it was really good, but it's not going to be for everyone, right? But there's a good chance that you would like it because it's a lot of passion has gone into it.
I mean, I will say I've seen a lot of these channels literally tell their fans not to watch this stuff. And I'll tell you why they say that, because if they actually watch a lot of the media, they'd realize these guys are full of shit.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is decent. Yeah, no, some of it's kind of lame, but a lot of it's fucking good.
Yes.
I do feel like a lot of the people who are like, especially down on comics, since I'm going into comic books again, a lot of people who are down on comics, these comics are woke, that you can't read them. If you actually did read them, you'd find out a lot of them are pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And like something we talk about a lot is like we try to make it clear that not all the shows that they call woke are good. We're not defending them, right? I don't like Rings of Power. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, right? But I didn't think it was very good. I don't think it's like the worst thing I've ever watched, but like I don't want to go back and watch season 1. Like I have no want to do that. And that show was
last 3 episodes. I thought the last 3 episodes were great, but it was a slow build.
Yeah, like for me, what I want out of that world, like that just wasn't it for me. So it's like, but they called that woke, right? And I didn't like it either.
Before it came out.
Well, before it came out, right? I don't agree that it's woke or that's the reason that it's bad or anything, right? But I didn't like it either. I didn't like Rings of Power, and however, they also call The Last of Us woke, and I loved it. I thought it was really fucking good. They called House of the Dragon woke before it came out. I fucking loved it.
Before it was opportunistic to say, it's good.
Exactly. Yeah, and like there's so many of these things where they say, this thing is woke, and they say it about so many things that they're like eventually things that there's a common consensus that they're bad. Like and then they validate themselves. But then what about all the other things that they called woke that actually do end up being good? Barbie is like pretty well received, and it did very, very well at the box office.
Right.
And it's like having Oscar talks and stuff. But they went off on it being woke. Woke as a criticism for film means absolutely fuck all.
As a criticism for anything. It just
for anything, yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty much at this point, I'm accepting that when they say woke, they just mean anti-Nazi.
Well,
cool.
I have, like in 2024, and I said this in my latest video, all of the words that they have tried to make bad, I'm just reclaiming them. So like woke, like I'm not going to say it like in the way they mean it anymore. I'm going to reclaim it. Same thing with like feminism and gay pride and all that stuff. All of these things that they've done a lot to make negative. I'm going to spend the rest of this year trying to reverse that. And everybody in the community, like, do not let these words get associated with negativity, because that's what they want. That's what they want these words to be associated with. And I think we've allowed them to do it for too long. And so now, like, if they call something woke, great, it's woke. That's awesome. It's awesome that it's woke. That's great. Even more reason for me to go out and see it. And that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to flip it around. I'm not going to, they've done this for too long. And so,
Yeah, and it's sad that like words that used to have meanings and meant something to people suddenly just get used for these twisted reasons.
Yeah,
and it'd be good to like take them back in ways.
Hold on, I have a quick thing to.
I might even start a podcast called the Woke Cast this year.
Hell yeah!
Nice. So this was from last year, but seems super relevant since you just brought it up here. So a new poll. Most people view woke as positive.
Well, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
So it worked.
I mean,
it worked. All that work I just put in, it worked. It's finally paid off now.
Good job, man. You did that.
Pretty much Republicans are 56% in the negative. What? Where's the breakdown? 56% of Americans view it as a positive term, essentially.
56% of Republicans said wokeness meant being overly
political.
Even though wokeness is more associated with social and cultural.
78% of Democrats understood the term as being informed on social justice issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really funny that they call a lot of progressive people SJWs, but then think woke is political.
Yeah.
Like it's SJW stands for social. It's not PJW.
Yeah. It's almost as if like the internet just is not the real world.
Right.
Yeah. Is that weird?
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Like talking to Star Wars fans out in the real world is so much more refreshing. It does it doesn't mean that the people I talk to necessarily like, for example, the sequels or Disney, like most stuff in Disney. It's just so refreshing because it's not fucking toxic. Like at most it's like, oh yeah, I didn't really like that when I saw it.
That's true. People that don't like stuff typically don't go, well, it's woke. That's not their response. They'll give you the reason why they don't like it. You know, they'll say something like that. But
they won't use weird examples from like 6 years later where they're still just hung up on. They're just like, oh well, yeah, that wasn't.
Like they would go, I would say, what did you think of the latest Star Wars movie? It used SJW, social justice warrior, intersectional feminism, and virtue signaling and pandering. It's like, no, they'll tell you, I didn't like that Darth Vader said this thing, or I didn't like that, Leia did this thing. Like it's such a ridiculous. It's just so frustrating and exhausting. So
and it's weird that like. And almost sad, right? That it's like refreshing to just have a regular conversation about film and like art.
Yeah. Well, do we want to look at somebody who is breaking down something that is woke, quite articulately? I think. I don't know. Have you guys heard of this show Echo?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Listen, like. I have on good authority from a very like smart person that this show is woke. I mean, look at some of these criticisms. Like she's making a weird face, and just when you thought they couldn't go any more MCU.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck does that mean? He's taking a random screenshot in an action sequence to try to make her look bad, right? And like if you take a screenshot of any person in an action scene, they're gonna look weird. And then and I don't understand what the criticism is.
Was Jessica Jones MCU? Was Jessica Jones MCU? Because that came out and I don't remember anybody going crazy over that show.
no, that was before the woke times. The woke times started with Ghostbusters 2016.
So now it's MCU, but before it was just a woman in a TV show.
You bet your ass if Jessica Jones was made to like came out today, they would call it woke.
Oh God, dude, that show would be called outrageously woke.
Hate it.
Go back and watch that show, especially the first season, and listen to how she treats people. Like, absolutely 100%.
Dude, like that show tackles rape it tackles abortion. Like, yeah, no, they would have a shit fit over that show.
That's crazy. And so it's just like,
but,
oh yeah, okay, let's look at some of the more.
Yeah, like, you know, this guy seems to be like, it's time for a queen. Blah ha ha. Okay, like, again, context. I don't.
Well, the context is she's talking about her community. Like, this isn't even about being a superhero. That's the context.
Oh dear.
I get this now. Oh, he's laughing because she actually got his dick size correct.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
see,
damn,
that is funny, Nerdrotic. Damn. Okay.
She predicted it. She predicted it. She's like, this is. Yeah.
My God. Yeah. No. Echo is
question
4.5 episodes of 30 minutes previously on.
Not 30 minutes of previously on. Wow. Not 30 minutes setting up something. Yeah, setting up something instead of going, because the complaint is either they don't set it up or they do set it up. Like, if the show wouldn't have had any indication of what it was prior to the beginning of the first episode, they would have said, here's Marvel doing what it always does, basically throwing us into the middle of something without any backstory. And so they decided we're going to spend some time piecing together the puzzle. By the way, no spoilers though. In the first episode, they it's like a puzzle. Like, they do some of the stuff that supposedly happened in the past, leading up to where it is present day. Then it connects a little bit with Hawkeye, and then it leads into some stuff with Kingpin and the whole Daredevil thing. All that happens in the first episode, and I think it was really well done. So I didn't have an issue with it.
How many episodes are out yet?
It's 5 total. 5 total episodes.
Yeah, it's gonna be 5 total.
But how many are out now?
5. They released all 5 at once.
Oh, damn.
They did the whole season. Yeah.
I think they did it because of the fact that it's such a short season. So
yeah. Oh, damn.
Apparently Echo's powers are lame as fuck. You know what? I will say this. At least that's something.
It's at least like an opinion.
Yeah. we're grasping at the process.
I mean, but look, if that were in a vacuum, if that was his only negative thing to say, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I mean, we can have a conversation about that. But then look at all this other stuff.
Yeah. The other stuff is just like he's handling me Queen Pin. Again, context. I assume it's a joke.
It is a joke, yeah.
Yeah. Echo achieves maximum girl boss.
It is a joke, and he's also laughing at it, so it had the effect.
By the way, I want to point out that Echo in the Kingpin stuff where she hospitalized him happened 2 years ago. It happened in Hawkeye. So if you're going to girl boss her, why weren't you doing it back then? Why is it now that she's a girl boss? Why wasn't it that when you watched Hawkeye?
In the end, Echo makes Kingpin cry. You know, and I'm offended by this too. Like, there's this character of Kingpin, and they gave him like development clearly and like growth. They made him a well-rounded character.
Did he even watch Daredevil? Like,
Daredevil Kingpin was super emotional. I mean, the whole thing with Vanessa was a major part of his storyline.
Dude.
Like,
yeah,
his whole thing is like that he's fucking insane, very emotional person.
Yeah,
like that was part of the reason why he acted out and started being so aggressive is because of his emotions.
Yes,
part of that. That's also why he's scary, because he might just like pop off on you, and when he pops off, like, people get their freaking heads crushed by a car door.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about it. He wasn't just some like emotionless big like titan, right? So, he was like, he had humanity in him, and then suddenly he just like fucking snaps sometimes, and he's like, I don't know.
You know what's funny to me is like they literally don't want characters to have any personality. They just want character comes on screen, character fights, character wins, character celebrates, next story. That's all they want apparently in these movies. If you're complaining about Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of fucking Kingpin.
Yeah. Like, go play the Spider-Man game, I guess.
But guys, there are 5 women in this shot.
Right.
Apparently that's the critique.
And only 4 men? What? Wait. Never mind. There's more than there's 5.
Are there 5? I'm seeing 4.
Was it not behind the one on the left?
You know, imagine the whitest of white pasty mayonnaise men trying to have an opinion about the culture.
There's a man right there.
Yeah, there's a culture where women are seen in a different light than they are in the way that he's perceiving them, and they actually respect women in the show, and he has no fucking clue. He's like, oh, it's just girl boss.
Yeah.
It's just girl boss. Like, considering Echo, like completely dismissing everything the character goes through. Like all of the backstory, all the struggles, what happened with her mother, how she got to work for Kingpin in the first place. Like, all of that is denied because she's girl boss.
Yeah. It's also just sad to see that, like, or it just like validates the idea more that like there is a lot of misogyny in these fandoms, like a lot of it, right? Because if this had just been like any other show, which happens a lot, right, of just like 5 men on screen at once, like no one would be saying anything.
You know, the funny thing is
the Avengers.
Yes.
Like you know, people in the space, like in the Comicsgate space and the Geeks and Gamer space or whatever, they don't like to be called misogynist, but that's all they do when it comes to women.
Yes.
Like, they don't like the word, but they will do all of the things. It's like, don't call me this, but I'm going to give you this energy. This is the energy that I'm going to give you.
It's really giving just like the good old, I'm not misogynist, but, and then, you know, and then they say something misogynist.
Well, listen, like you want to know how I know Nerdrotic Gary here is a complete grifter? Because like the way he's tweeting like this, like I imagined a dude who would just, the person who tweet like this seriously, like every time they see a woman on screen, they just collapse crying, shaking and quivering, just amazed that there's a woman on screen, and they just couldn't handle it.
Which is also
so
ironic
because
like,
does that or he's a grifter.
I you know, I wish that, like, there's been times when I've actually talked to people who have been saying stuff like this, because I've been kind of, you know, going around and trying to like talk to different communities about it to give their take on it. And typically it's like the majority opinion is that women are okay when they're in smaller roles. That seems to be like the way they feel about it. Like, women are okay if it's like 4 guys and 1 woman or whatever, but anything more than like a 40-60 or even a 30-70 balance, they start to get like nervous about it. And I don't really know what the reason for that is. I haven't been able to get a clear answer about that, like why that's such a problem. Because I asked them all, like, what's the issue? What's the issue with women being badass? Like, what's the problem with that? And it's always on their terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's the first debate I had. Like, I was like, "What's the problem with more women in the MCU?" And his response was, "Well, there are already plenty of women. There were already plenty of women in the MCU. There was Black Widow, and then that's it. That's
and Wanda,
the sentence."
And by the way, Black Widow was objectified in her first appearance. Black Widow was objectified in her first appearance. So
yes, that's crazy.
That's probably why they like her.
Yes.
Do you want to know another reason why I know Gary's a grifter?
Why?
Okay, because, you know, I really dislike the fake geek thing and the poser nerd thing. That's not what we're about. We're about inclusiveness, and we want new people in. And if new people, you know, spout off and make mistakes, hey, don't we all?
Wow.
Yeah. Very different dude. I can get along with that dude. Not the dude freaking out over Echo here.
No.
I just don't, you know, if you want to have a nuanced conversation about whether something is good or bad, I'm down for that. But when you layer it with all this other dumb shit, you can't have a conversation.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
It's literally like this.
I just find it ironic.
In isolation would be like, okay, kind of lame, but whatever. The rest, then it's that one is garbage.
I just find it ironic that like he's talking about how like Echo made Kingpin cry, but like Echo made Nerdrotic cry. Let's
that's what it's really about.
Burnt. Did I just own Nerdrotic?
He just in his sock drawer crying for a day.
But like I saw someone mention this on Twitter, and it's just like, this isn't like criticism in any way. The only thing he's saying here is woman, and woman bad, you know? That's the entirety of his argument here. Not even an argument, just like his claims or whatever the fuck this is. As a person who is like, who makes videos analyzing film and stuff, right? There is nothing here. This is not criticism. If anyone is like a fan of Nerdrotic and is thinking like, oh, Echo's come out how is it from someone who's watched it, right? And they see this. This tells them nothing about it, unless they're misogynist.
Well, it reaffirms people that liked it that already watched Nerdrotic. It doesn't, like, you're right. It doesn't tell anybody who's never watched the show anything. Mm-hmm. So all he's doing is speaking to his echo chamber.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all he's doing here.
And he's also obviously he's also trying to get his whole hashtag MCU trending. Like that's what he's trying to do. He's multiple posts with it in. That's I think that's
Which
mainly
totally couldn't be just a ploy to sell merchandise. It's not a ploy to sell T-shirts and things like that.
How could you even suggest that, man?
Dude, you're making it sound like he's a grifter of some sort.
I mean, I don't have to say it. Jeremy said it. He's already said it. So
did he now? Damn, we were good at the.
Yeah, I don't have that clip ready to go, guys.
Oh god damn!
I'm doing my Dr. Evil thing here. Jeremy said it. So Jeremy said it from Gibson Gamer. Jeremy said it. Come on, Bob. Jeremy said it.
I actually think I heard Jeremy said it.
I heard that somebody from Geeks and Gamers might have admitted that they're grifting.
Wait, I actually I saw that I think Geeks and Gamers said.
Well,
there we go. It's almost like Jeremy said it.
It's exactly what we're talking about.
So this guy isn't Jeremy. This guy's D-Day Cobra.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
completely different dude.
I guess we were wrong.
Disney Star Wars is completely dead creatively.
Yeah, creatively
it's still phenomenal for growing your YouTube channel. Grift away, my friends. Huh?
That's crazy.
So it's a grift. Thank you for being honest, D-Day Cobra.
This is the second time he's done this, at least that I can remember.
In like not a lot of time. That's amazing.
No, I was gonna see if I could find the more recent clip because I have a shorter version of it. But,
yeah.
Yes.
And like,
this is crazy.
Yeah, I think you said this yesterday, Bob. But like, if anyone will ever is responding to one of our critiques of these channels, being like, "How can you call them a grifter? Right? Where's the evidence?" Bro, he said it himself.
It's right there.
They're open about it. It's just it's also I really like that clip where he's saying it on stream, and especially how angry the others get, especially Nerdrotic and RK Outpost. Like it is special. Like I can more see with Nerd. I still think it's very obvious that Nerdrotic's a grifter, like, and anyone who has any sense should know that. But like, I don't know how RK Outpost is trying to pretend. Like,
it's funny to bring him up. Like, I was looking the other day. Do you realize he's made like 4 or 5 hours worth of Snow White videos already? Like combined with all the videos. Of
course he has. And his videos are like 4 to 8 minutes long.
Well, that's because he's made like 70 videos. So
yeah, I was about ready to say it's like 2 hours, like 70 videos for him.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, he's made.
We don't even have a trailer on that, do we?
No.
Is it even filming yet?
I think they filmed a little bit, but I don't think they filmed a whole lot.
No,
I know it was all shut down due to the strike.
Yeah, like what the fuck has he been making content about?
By the way, we know what is fired, guys. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Again,
just like Kathleen Kennedy, she's fired.
Yeah,
weird. So before we move on from the Echo stuff, we do have some Grace Randolph drama.
God.
Yeah.
So if you guys did not watch What If Season 2, they premiered a new character, debuted a new character named Gory, Mohawk Native American. And
I'll go ahead and drop in here real fast. I have mixed feelings about Season 2, but I did think the Kahori episode was probably the best one of the season.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the character. I think it's a very interesting take. And so they introduced her, Native American character, probably going to show up in more animated stuff, maybe in live action stuff. We'll have to wait and see. But a unique character to Marvel, to the MCU, and was introduced just, I think, middle of December is when the episode came out. Now, keep in mind, Echo was introduced back in Hawkeye, so 2 years ago. Okay, so keep that in mind. And this is Grace Randolph's take on Kahori from What If Season 2, and talking about Echo, because I believe at this time when she made this, she probably saw the first 3 episodes of Echo, because I think some people got like up to a month's early access on the first season, or the only season maybe of Echo. We'll see. Anyway, this is her take on it, and I just want to tell you guys it's a lot packed into 1 minute. So let's watch this here.
And just like with Captain Carter in season 1, who's back here again, season 2 introduces another new character to the MCU, Kahori, who is basically Tesseract Pocahontas. And
ooh,
jeez,
ooh, Tesseract Pocahontas.
That's a new one.
When I did my video about this, I was like, I wonder if she even knows how bad that was, and she just was like doing it to be edgy, or if she's just ignorant, so ignorant she doesn't know. I don't know.
Like I would never until maybe recently. Like I feel like Rachel Randolph is definitely throwing her toes into the chuddy waters a bit. But like, I'll be blunt, she's never been smart. She's always been just ridiculously bad on the media critic circuit. Like, and her
reasoning for it, when she explains here in a second, you'll hear this. Like, her reasoning for it is, I didn't think about this when I made my video, but I do want to say something here. Let's listen to why she says that.
In fact, the beginning of her episode reminds me so much of the beginning of that Disney animated movie.
It's almost like there's so little Native American content out there that one thing can remind you of another because you have no other point of reference. Because I can't imagine that she's seen other Native American animated movies at the level of like the Pocahontas movie. So that's her only gateway animation into Native American culture was Pocahontas. So that's the only reason it's similar to her.
It reminded me a lot of Last of the Mohicans personally.
I mean, it's like when I watched Moonlight, right? It was like a good movie, but I was just thinking like, damn, this is just Black Panther.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like
100%.
It's like the same
thing. Maybe she turns this around. Let's see if she turns this around here.
Now, I wasn't sure about her at first. Should we have this character and Echo who's coming up, right?
Oh, should we have two Native American women in the MCU? Because there's no room for that.
Should we have two distinct and separate characters? Well, guys, like I know when the MCU started, we had Iron Man, but like a month later they had Hulk. I mean, should they really have done two characters right next to each other like that?
Yeah.
Well, what was your opinion when they then did Captain America afterwards?
I know. Spider-Man is a white guy too. Wow.
Thor. What about Ant-Man? Guardians of the Galaxy actually has a white person.
Let's see. Maybe she look. We're only halfway through. Maybe she turns this around. Maybe
this is crazy.
But I have to say, Kahori is super cool, and super powerful. So powerful. Some people I suspect will say she might be overpowered, but I mean, I don't know. It's so cool to watch her work. I don't care. So now I'm like, do we really need Echo? And now that we have Kahori. I mean, sure, of course, we could keep both characters. It'd be wonderful to have more than one Native American character. In fact, there are multiple characters in the Kahori episode that I think have potential. But, well, I can't give anything away about Echo, but when you see Echo, you will see that these two characters have striking similarities from
Okay, so now that I've seen both of them, the only similarities they have is they are Native American women. To me,
like I haven't seen. I just know Echo from Hawkeye series, and I've seen Kahori, and I'm like, what similarity? Like that's it.
There is a mythological connection to both the ancestors of Kahori and Maya Lopez, who plays Echo, but outside of that, there's really nothing similar about these characters. Kahori is like God level powerful, right? Yeah. Like she's extremely powerful. Echo is definitely a street level type character. So I don't.
And while I would say Kahori is very powerful, like I would probably say she's less powerful than Superman. So if you're gonna say, Kahori is too powerful, then Superman's too powerful. So hey.
So we've got a couple seconds here. Let's see how she wraps this up. I wonder if she leaves it on a good note or if she says something about Native American erasure.
This take's gonna be based and it's gonna bring it around, guys.
It's Native American erasure.
Their backgrounds to their power sets, and they do seem repetitive.
So they're repetitive.
I called that poorly, guys.
She didn't wrap that up. But look, surprisingly, the Hollywood Reporter decided to ask someone directly connected to Kahori and to Echo with Devry Jacobs, who actually was the voice actor for Kahori, whether or not they felt comfortable with the comments made by Grace Randolph. And let's see what they had to say, because I think this probably does it more justice than anything we could do. So
went viral recently for suggesting or basically asking if Echo and Kahori both needed to exist within the MCU, which is
really ask that?
They absolutely did, and it was so egregious. I was just wondering if you had a reaction. And
I actually love the look on her face. She's like, did somebody really say that? Like, why would you say that? Especially like
genuinely
a critic. Yeah.
And if you could explain why it's important to have multiple Native characters in a project.
I mean, would somebody go up to a white guy and say, like, this is the one perspective for a white story that there is out there? Like, with
the answer to that is they never do that. That's never a question that gets asked. And I know that was a rhetorical question, but it's just, I want to reiterate that, like, there's no lack of white men in media. So,
and like,
well,
sorry.
I was just gonna say the white man is essentially seen as the default, and so they ignore that. But it's like,
and like people would be like I don't know, like shocked if someone said like, oh well, we have Iron Man, do we really need Captain America? People would be like, what the fuck?
I mean, it would be like saying, do we need AirrickDebunks on a podcast with Organized Chaos because we're both white guys? And,
exactly.
Something like that. Like the thing is that people are allowed to exist in spaces and you can have as many as you want of them. I don't understand why that's such a weird fucking take. Anyway, let's see. She goes on to really like break this down. We're just going to run through this quickly.
Did somebody go and say that? That's egregious. That's insane that anybody would say that. I think that, I don't know. I don't even know if it's justifiable of an answer, but I'll give one anyway. I think that the story of the Horde in What If is astronomically different than that of Maya Lopez in Echo. I think one is of one talking about colonization and history and features Mohawk cultures and communities, the community that I come from. And then the other is about an anti-hero, kind of like a villain who is coming back to her Choctaw Nation and to her family. And it's really a dark crime noir family drama. And so they're both individual stories that absolutely deserve to be told, and one that I personally think is badass in their own right. But yeah, like, forget about that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So anyway, I don't really have anything else to add to what she said, other than the fact that I feel very good that she broke down the cultural difference between two different Native American women so that we can fully understand the difference. And shout out to her. And I can't wait to see her playing Kahori in live action. I really hope that she gets to play Kahori in live action.
Yeah. So. And it also just goes to like show just how incredibly ignorant Grace Randolph's like statements were.
Yeah. Because they don't make any sense in context. So listen to her break down the difference in the two characters from a cultural perspective.
Exactly.
Makes Grace sound even worse, which is why I think it's funny.
Because like her arguments were bad, like so bad that we could of course sit there and like clown on it, right? But coming from a person who's actually like has good knowledge of the topic, right? It just goes to show how fucking dumb her comments were.
Yeah.
And it's in general, it's a really good statement. I thought she handled it very well.
You know, and it's like people, again, don't realize that there are actors behind these characters and that everyone in these spaces are human beings. And so when you comment on this content, especially stuff that's culturally significant in this sense, and you start talking about things like Grace Randolph does sometimes, because I do believe sometimes she just says ignorant stuff. It doesn't change the fact that it's not good, that it does harm the community, but you know, just people need to once again, that should have been like the topic of this video, like the stream today, like these are human beings. Like all these people that work on this are human beings. So
like it must also just be like it wait, okay, I'm just trying to think about what I'm trying to say. Like imagine hearing someone say, oh, do we really need both of these perspectives? Like if you're a Native American woman, like what the fuck?
Well, it's like, almost like they say like the progressive liberal people tick off boxes, but saying that you're questioning whether or not two Native American women deserve to be in the MCU is almost like you're ticking off boxes yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, well, I mean, that was the thing. What was it, Ethan Van Sciver the other day? Like with his whole like perfect ratio or what it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like
the Stan Lee perfect.
Yeah.
I had an argument with him about that, so I'm very aware of.
Yeah, like the 5. Oh yeah, yeah. Like the what was it, like 5 men and 3 women? That was way too many women. Like that's not Stan Lee's perfect ratio. It's just like yeah, like that is ticking off boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you discussed it with him, did you get him to call you a dumb motherfucker?
No, he actually no, it was not like that. What, did he call you that in your, did you have that discussion with him? So,
when we had that discussion. Yeah,
on Twitter. I thought you were talking about your
no
interview with
Twitter,
him or whatever.
yes.
I was gonna say I don't remember that in that video. No, I tried to I was asking to be more specific about what he was saying. And it was a lot of like just non-specific answers. So, I mean, it's when it comes to people that have that belief, there's no logical reason for it. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say like lying, but like just not being completely upfront about it. They want to pretend like they don't feel that women are, not, that men are superior to women or whatever. But they'll always act like, well, women, we talked about with Star Wars theory that women don't like this thing or they're not in love with this like men are. But the truth is they just want women to be like trad wives or traditional wives or whatever. They don't want them to have fun and to be involved in all this stuff. This is all guy stuff to them. And so they'll come up with any reason they can for that.
Yeah.
So speaking of the real people behind roles, did you guys know there was some sort of MJ controversy with Spider-Man 2?
I didn't know about that. What is this controversy?
What?
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. So like apparently like people were upset because Mary Jane wasn't attractive enough in what?
Wow.
Anyways, yeah. So the actual actress who did MJ did a statement. I appreciate all the love that I received yesterday, but I just want to be clear. I wasn't getting death threats from anyone over the weekend. Did I feel unsafe and uncomfortable having fans of the game reach out to me the way they did? Yes. A line was crossed, and I wanted to address that. I wasn't okay with that. I also haven't been a working actor in many years now. This wasn't something I decided recently. MJ is the only role I was open to being a part of when I decided to change careers. It is a project I'm so proud to be a part of. I will be MJ as long as the game creators will have me. So
this is the second statement.
Okay. So is there? Yeah. So is there? Okay.
Yeah. Wait.
Let me
just
find the link.
I got it.
I was gonna say I could pull it up quickly, but if you got it,
okay. I was wondering. I was like, I remember it being a little bit different, but yes.
Yeah, that's the second one, but that was
Here we go.
Yeah.
Following up on it. Yeah. There's a longer one.
Yeah. So, dear Spider-Man fans, I appreciate the love for my role in the Spider-Man games and the positive response to my version of MJ has gotten over the years. However, I'm no longer an actively auditioning actor or model. The shoots I do now are purely a creative outlet for myself and a way to collaborate with friends I love. Over the weekend, some followers crossed boundaries. One even went to the extent of calling my workplace and leaving multiple voicemails wanting to speak with me and requesting I call back, which is unacceptable and considered stalking. My skincare page is not for Spider-Man or MJ fans. Bottom line is that I came into work this morning and felt immediately unsafe and uncomfortable hearing these voicemails. Please respect that I am a human being, just like like we've been saying, trying to make a living just like you, and I kindly ask for boundaries to not be crossed. Messages will not be answered. I will block you if you make me feel uncomfortable, and you can unfollow me if this disappoints you. Thank you. Based. Yeah, very based.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah. That like I read this, I was like, wait, I know there was something about our beauty business. Yes.
Yeah.
Look, it sucks that she has to step away from something that she loves to, as a form of like a career, because, having the opportunity to do what you love as a career is extremely unique. It's not something that everybody gets a chance to do. And having to step away from it because of a bunch of people bullying you is pretty fucking awful, honestly.
Yeah. So, and I think like the second one she did, the one we saw first.
If you still have that one, Bob.
Yeah. So I think it does talk about how like she hasn't been a model for years, right? So So we don't know if it like her stopping had anything to do with the toxic fans. But either way, what happened to her here, like someone calling, making requests that she has to talk to them and stuff, that is horrible. Whether it's like a person who genuinely likes her and like is a fan, or one of like the people who thinks MJ was ruined in the latest Spider-Man game, that doesn't matter. It's still fandom gone way too far, and like people just like grossly overstepping boundaries online.
It's like people don't connect the fact that when you have a video game, like they want the voice actors to be present in the games because it adds a sense of immersion, because you see someone and you're like, oh, that's the actor that I know, or that's somebody that is doing this outside of video games. And that's really cool. But at the same time, we've gotten to the point where these voice actors now become so connected with their characters in video games because their likeness is there, that people don't distinguish the animation from the real person. It's really fucking wild, to be honest. That they just think that this person has to be, their version of attractive to be valid or whatever. It's really fucking weird.
It is. And like, it was a big deal when Spider-Man 2 came out with the whole MJ's voice model looking different. Like the face. And it's just in general, if people like are into like gaming and gaming news and stuff, it is a pretty significant thing that people, especially more recently, I feel like, are getting very angry whenever a woman doesn't look exactly how they want them to. Like the newest trailer for the upcoming Fable game, I remember that one. Like they thought the main character in that one is ugly. With the newest Mortal Kombat, there's the Aloy from the Horizon series, where in the sequel apparently, like there was of course the funny stuff with all like the like peach fuzz and stuff, and they were like, oh, she has a beard and stuff, but also just like they think she was made ugly. There was generally people when last year when the Last of Us remake for the PS5 came out, they said that they had made Ellie ugly, who is a 14-year-old girl in that game. And just in general, there's a lot of...
I mean, there was Chris Gore on his film threat video saying that Ms. Marvel should be sexier when she's a teenage character in the Marvels.
Yes. It's really fucking weird.
People don't, I mean, and it goes like it spreads out into all forms of it. Like it's video games, it's media, it's movies, TV shows, it's everything. Like when men come out, I don't truly think they understand or comprehend when you base your entire thoughts on whether or not a woman in a movie or a game or whatever is valid is based on their like sex appeal. How fucking stupid and caveman that sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like so many of these guys have to, like, I swear to God, just get out, because I feel like they have this unrealistic standard of beauty that probably comes from like, I don't know, fucking 90s comic book women or something.
Gay people make everything about sex. Meanwhile, like
sorry. I was gonna say, you go out into the world, there are women of all shapes and sizes, and almost all of them have their beautiful aspects in some way, and you just have to appreciate it. Like, my God, like, live your life. I swear to God.
And especially like just the basic understanding that when you take a random screenshot of a person in like motion, that they don't look great. Because basically all of these examples with video games are from like screenshots of,
especially
like,
Tanya from Mortal Kombat. They went crazy on that one. That was
like it's insane. Like you can take if there was some like objective standard for beauty, right? You could take that like the best looking person, right? And them having sex or whatever, right? And then in the moment you take a random screenshot and they could look horrible. Like that's what happens when you base beauty and standard and stuff off of a fucking screenshot. And it's just like and then also on top of that, everything Bob mentioned, that it's like people need to have more realistic standards, right? Because I bet your ass that like the people who are saying all this stuff and like complaining about ugly women in video games aren't like probably have flaws themselves, right? Like every human being does, right? And they probably also don't want to be treated the same way, where like a person just looks at a photo of them, it's like, ew, this person is horrible. They have no redeeming qualities. That's not good for anyone.
You don't even have six-pack abs. What the fuck?
Yeah. What the fuck? Like it's people, and that's like a big I think like issue with just the internet in general. It allows people to have way unrealistic expectations for life in general, and like all aspects of life.
Like the moral of today's stream is, remember, they're real people making these things. Like, treat everybody with respect. Stop being fucking assholes.
Yeah, that's like, damn. We really.
I didn't realize this stream had a theme, but really.
Yeah, we just agreed on a theme. That's great.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's really what it boils down to. I mean, all of this stuff is just this disconnect from reality that I think maybe the Chud channels have been trying to achieve all along. Maybe it's just something that sort of flew under the radar, I guess. Yeah. He calls Margot Robbie mid.
Margot Robbie is mid? Jesus Christ. Get out of your basement, for fuck's sake.
Bro, everyone knows the person who said that. If Margot Robbie was standing in front of him being like, I'm all yours, there's not a single second of hesitation in him. Like,
so now Hollywood standard beauty is mid. So they want to go beyond that. So they want like just completely drawn, animated
they want AI
women. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what actress, if any of these guys who complain about women like this, what actress, if they had a chance at, they would jump at? Fucking Brie Larson.
Oh yeah,
yes. Brie Larson is gorgeous. I'm sorry.
And you could also see that from every thumbnail that has ever been made about Brie Larson.
Do we have a definitive answer about Star Wars theory? Do we think that he's full on Chud now?
Yes.
Would you say that?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm okay. I mean, I'm about ready. I'll do a research. In case you guys are wondering, yes, I'm doing a stream probably like a half hour after we end this. But yeah, I'm going to dive into Star Wars theory. I have my kids tomorrow night, so I have to get 2 streams out of the way tonight.
So, I was gonna say, are we done with our main topics now? Do we have anything else?
I just quickly want to mention like the Star Wars theory Chud thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just because like I am pretty he not in the same vein as like a RK Outpost, right? And like that kind of content and stuff. But yes, in pretty much everything, especially effect, which I think is like the main thing. Like, yeah, he's ticking all the boxes for me. He's hanging out with all the other Chuds. He is saying chuddy things. And yeah, he is very much a Chud. And I think we should start like not just seeing him as,
I mean, he's aligning with Andrew Tate people now at this point.
Like Andrew Tate and all the others, right? And it's like, and I think for me personally, right, like a long time I've kind of like separated him. I've kept him in like the Star Wars category.
Yeah.
But like he's so much more than that right now, right? Like he is a full-on Chud, and we should start seeing him as one of the more influential ones because he does have a big fan base that is pretty vicious online.
I mean, what kind of threw it off me is for years, like I would occasionally watch a theory video because so many of his early videos are just like Star Wars lore stuff, and it's kind of cool. And like I think that's why I kept him separate. But like, yeah, I think we do have to start accepting he is a Chud
for sure.
That's what he's doing now.
I used to watch like way back in the day, like some Star Wars theory videos. Like he has a pretty cool story. Like he beat cancer, and then he's like. And he was just like a really passionate fan for Star Wars, and he made theory videos, and he just got really fucking big, and it was like pretty cool. And it's just what he's become is just so sad to see.
Yeah.
But we definitely need to start taking him very seriously. Yeah.
Surprisingly, yeah. So if we're done with our main topics, I had that video we discussed earlier. If you want to kind of watch that, I didn't know that anymore. So
which one?
So the Saska sister type video.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So let me preface this video. If you guys were not familiar, we're talking about Ripaverse now, completely detached from our message of the day. This is a separate little piece here.
Remember, Eric July is a person.
Yeah, he's a person. No, but the Ripaverse.
No, he's not.
The Ripaverse hired the Saska sisters. Now, the Saska sisters, I believe one of them, maybe both of them, are pansexual. They've been open about it. Talked about it. Jen and Sylvia, not sure if it's both of them, but I'm assuming yes, it is because they share one Twitter and they've talked about it on there. But they're openly pansexual. They're supportive of trans rights. It's documented on their Twitter, on their Tumblr. They're supportive of gay rights. They're supportive of all of these things that would be considered like extremely progressive by the standards of not only Eric July, but a lot of the people who support Eric July would consider a lot of this stuff progressive. And so there's been over the past couple weeks this push on social media from a lot of people who I guess are fans of the Rippaverse and people that were and are no longer fans of the Rippaverse, who are like coming about all of this stuff on the Saska sisters and stumbling into it and finding it now, and we're seeing it everywhere. And they're a little bit confused on not necessarily why the Saska sisters are working with Eric, which that would be my question, is like, how big is the paycheck that you could just go, I'm going to forget, all of these marginalized communities and a community I'm part of to go work with somebody. That's my question. But if we think about it like from the paycheck perspective, okay, maybe they're putting all that aside because the paycheck is really good. Maybe that's why. Because now they're the lore masters for the Rippaverse, which should be a big, like there should be a question mark over that when it comes to the fans of the Rippaverse, because they are extremely progressive. And I'm saying this, like, obviously I'm progressive as well. But they're like full on like activist type, like they're on social media posting stuff like, Trans Visibility Day and stuff like that. They do a lot more than I do. And I could do even more, I could be even more proactive about it, but they're doing more than that with some of their the activism and things they've been a part of. And so now they're lore masters for the Rippaverse. So a lot of people are wondering, like, what does that mean for the comic book for Yaira? Because they're the writers for the Yaira comic. And people have been asking them online about this. They've not really said anything about it. They've been very quiet about it, but it's starting to become bigger. Like this whole question of what Yaira is going to be. Is it going to be more feminist? Is it going to be more progressive? Is it going to be girl boss? We just spent a lot of the stream talking about like the perspective on women in lead roles and things like that. And so it all sort of comes to this Yaira book. So it finally has hit Eric that he needs to say something about this. So he made a quick video. I think it's a 3-minute clip we're going to look at here, where he is trying to sort of separate, I think, what the Saskas do outside of the Rippaverse with what they're going to do in the Rippaverse. And there's a line at the end of this that I openly laughed out loud as I was walking down the hallway watching this. But we're going to watch this clip here. This is him trying to sort of separate politics from the Rippaverse. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about a comic book where, Texas left the United States, that they have their own government, that there's libertarian superheroes like Goodying or whatever his name is. It's basically a libertarian superhero. So separating politics from the Rippaverse, especially when you have like the Army of Texas and the police department working with there's politics already in the Rippaverse. But this video is so funny to me. So let's watch this video and try to get through this. We're going to turn this 3-minute video into 30 minutes. I hope not. Here we go.
I'm Eric, the founder and owner of the Rippaverse.
We know, bro.
The world has become polarizing that people have grown accustomed to companies taking political stances or being used as political platforms. So
I want to point out that Eric July is the Rippaverse. This company is him. It is him.
Yes.
You brought up this Saska sisters being the lore masters, and that's kind of shocking because I would assume Eric is the lore master.
Right.
That's insane. Then
so yeah, I don't think people stumble into the Rippaverse without knowing who Eric July is, or at least looking up who Eric July is. Like literally the people buying Rippaverse merch are fans of Eric July. So his politics and his beliefs are, I would say, the majority of the people that buy his comic books buy it for that reason. So anyway.
So I don't necessarily get upset when people automatically assume that our company plays by the same set of rules.
Why is it that you only advertise on right-leaning platforms then? Like Blaze and Fox and all of these and what is it, Temple, all these right-leaning platforms, but it's not political though. It's not political.
He doesn't do a whole lot for the Blaze. I mean, the fact that his picture's like 4 spots away from Glenn Beck in the hallway don't let that confuse you. He doesn't do anything for the Blaze, really.
Let's see what he says here.
Especially considering that I myself am a libertarian political commentator. But I want to remind you why I started this company.
So, completely disregard the fact that the owner of the company is a platformed libertarian content creator. Just disregard that entire fact and
keep keep in mind he's a libertarian whose views always seem to align with conservatism for some reason. It's weird.
Right. It's just like, even if he were liberal, if his entire platform were like progressive liberal politics and he made comic books in spite of like some conservative comic book company, you can't go, oh, but they're not political at all. I mean, that's the entire reason you're making the fucking comic book.
Go look at the first ever video that we released.
No, we're not going to.
I wanted to fix problems that plague the industry.
But fix them how? Fix them how? By using your comic books to inject your beliefs into your stories because you don't agree with mainstream comics doing that. That's how you were going to fix it.
Dude, like I've just kind of been like this year going a bit more into comic books, and so far, like what I've read has been like so good. So like,
there's a lot of good stuff out there.
What is the fixing he's doing?
Well, that's what I mean. Like his belief is the same of a lot of people in this space, is that they don't like progressive comic books, so their idea of fixing it is making conservative comic books. There's nothing wrong with that stance. This is why this is so weird to me. Like, if you're an indie comic book company, you can make your comic book for whatever fucking reason you want to make it. This idea that he's got to pretend that his comic books were not anti-progressive in nature from the start is such a weird position to take. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he knows that there's not enough anti-progressive people to sustain a business. It's almost if he knows that. And that's why he's doing this. But I could be wrong. Here we go.
Both creatively and economically. So our goal was never to make the same exact mistakes, just having a slant to a different side of the political spectrum. That defeats the purpose.
A slant? Dude, you make so many anti-progressive videos, anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-fucking, union, like a slant. Like,
that's crazy.
That's demeaning, like what your platform is. God, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Our rule about social views and real world politics within the company is simple. Leave it at the door.
Except you made an entire comic book based about Texas leaving the United States of America.
Yeah. It's like I find so weird that like channels like him, they're so like like they make a lot of political content and they're very open about like what they don't like, but somehow they know that their politics aren't good, right? Because like they never admit to it.
Yeah.
I believe that at the end of the day, Eric knows that he can't just sell to conservative people. There's not enough money in that. He needs the Rippaverse to sell to everybody. And that'll become more apparent as we go through this video. He sees that the independent comic space in the conservative bubble, that there's not enough money there to sustain his brand. And I think he knows that.
So like if you're used to sales and stuff like that, obviously your first issue is going to be a big seller. And then you're going to get diminishing returns on each and every issue. And what you're doing as you go is you're looking for some sort of settle point. Eric hasn't reached a settle point. It seems like every issue is doing half as well as the one before. Yaira's going to struggle to hit up 1 million. Goodying the polymath, which comes after Yaira. I'm sorry. Is that ever going to hit a million? Who's going to order that? Are you like, okay, if somebody orders Goodying the polymath, you know that's a hardcore Eric stan. Because what are you doing?
I also want to point out that the diminishing returns may not just have to do with like number 1 to number 2s. It may have to do with the fact that people just don't have enough money to spend like $40, $100, whatever on a comic book at like 3 times a year.
Get a much better one for like $5. And
I want to point out
are way more expensive than when I was collecting originally, but like way cheaper than Eric's. Which
I want to point out that just a few days ago he lowered prices in his membership club, because remember we talked about that they were like $100 for like a monthly membership or whatever. He dropped down the lowest tier to $5 a month. Now that tells me that he wasn't getting enough people signing up. That's the only reason you would do that, because there would be no reason to change the price on it if you were making that level of money, and he wasn't. So he lowered the price to $5 a month. So that wasn't working either. So let's see where we go with this here.
We will sell our products to anybody of whatever affiliation. You're crazy.
It's almost as if that's exactly what the big publishers do. They will sell their products to anybody that wants to buy them.
Wait, you mean if somebody offers him money, he won't say no?
Right. It's almost like he doesn't care who the customer is.
Like does he think Marvel doesn't do that?
That's what I mean. Like his argument was that these comic book companies were trying to cater to too many people, and now he's literally like, I'm doing the same thing.
I mean,
so he would sell it to women. Women can buy his comic books. I thought his stance was that women don't like comic books.
Yeah. Well, honestly, pretty based, pretty woke.
Yeah. This actually, I'm pretty sure we'll see over the next day, because this just came out. This video just came out this afternoon, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some people saying that this sounds very SJW. And as we get further in this video, it is going to sound more like what they would consider to be SJW. Here we go.
See if you think everybody that works for the Rippaverse is an anarcho-capitalist like me.
So there we go. He will hire anyone, meaning that all of those personal reasons that so many people would be buying the Rippaverse comic books because of Eric July, you guys can walk away from this and go, this is not about owning anything. This is just a dude trying to sell comic books. If that's truly what he's doing here, then he's not trying to own anybody with this. Then you have a decision. Are the comic books good? Are they good enough for me to continue to buy them? Or am I buying them to own liberal media? Mm-hmm. Like, those are two things you have to ask with this. Here we go.
As long as you are qualified, you can work for the Rippaverse under one condition. Don't be a hack. Have whatever views you want.
Don't be a hack. What does that even mean in the context of everything? Would a hack be someone that was fired from their job for like disrupting the workplace? I mean, that seems pretty hacky to me personally. Yeah, he's hired a bunch of people that were basically pushed out of the industry for not being good at dealing with all the public stuff. So, I mean, anyway.
Just don't let it get in the way of business, and don't disrespect our customers. Believe it or not, this used to—
Oh, you mean like the queer customers and the trans customers that would have been, out there looking for a new comic book to buy, and they tune into your channel and see that you hate gay and trans people. Those customers, or when somebody that works for the Rippaverse under an official Rippaverse Twitter handle goes after trans people or calls people the F slur. Those things are okay. That I would feel very comfortable buying comic books from people like that, because that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Used to be a norm in American culture. I believe that's also why the Rippaverse works so well. Employees are free to be themselves on their own watch. They don't fear being
on their own watch. So you can't be yourself when you're working at the Rippaverse. You have to be a minion, a mindless minion, just come in and do stuff and just leave or whatever. But outside of that, if you want to be transphobic, you can be, or if you want to be pro-trans, you can be outside of the Rippaverse. Yeah. That's basically what he's saying here. It's a very progressive liberal way to look at things here. Anyway, let's go on.
Being punished or losing their job because someone disagreed with them online. Look, I get it. Your upbringing will give you a set of traits and values that make you unique. It may even influence your art or storytelling.
Oh God. This is completely opposite of what he did just a few weeks ago when he went after all of these people who, like, I mean, you could go back to his videos about T. Franklin and Sunspider from just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, he did just talk about like Sunspider, like out of nowhere again. And it's like, oh my God.
Anyway, like, we're almost done with
we are not saying that you should be amoral or without principles. We just don't want this to get in the way of our stories or our business.
The stories of politics and cultural stuff in the Rippaverse. Okay, got it.
Audience should never feel like they are being beat over the head with some current day political views. If
you mean like Texas leaving the United States,
Oh,
yeah, that's from the As Playbook. Anyway,
other people in their businesses have a different approach. That's fine. I'm just telling.
It's not fine. That's not fine. You've spent years on your platform attacking them for that. You did it just the other day in a live stream with Az. So it's not fine. This whole contrarian thing that he's doing in this video is very fucking weird, because this is not how he acts normally. This is not the way he believes normally. It is not fine. If they put gay characters in a comic, you're going to attack it. They put trans people in a comic, you're going to attack it. So it's not fine that they do those things. You don't believe that.
Here we go. Telling you what our vision is with the Rippaverse. So no matter what the motives of others are or how they attempt to paint us as, the Rippaverse is a fun sandbox for everybody that wants to get into our universe. Here's some things to consider. We care about comics and are very much a customer-driven company. We've shown that you don't have to be a part of the mainstream to have a profitable venture. The internet.
You just have to push identity politics and anti-progressive ideas and grift the fuck out of everything and astroturf everything to have a successful comic book. Imagine that. Imagine that's all you have to do is literally sell your soul to have a comic book company.
Yeah, anyone could do it.
Actually, social.
Wait. Are they showing someone with like a purple or I guess like aqua colored hair in a Rippaverse clip, not in a negative light? This isn't a thumbnail with like they hate this or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, this would be a thumbnail. Like imagine red text next to this says they hate this or this the Star Wars panics. I mean, that's what this is.
They would make that video in a heartbeat. Yes.
Okay.
Especially social media is not a proper representation of real life. A lot of the aggression is centered around fake narratives that people simply aren't dwelling on in the real world.
So explain to me then, if social media is not real life and it doesn't represent anything, then where do you sell your comics at, Eric?
Yeah.
Are they sold in comic shops?
He really shouldn't want to go down this route.
You are literally selling your comics online based on your affiliations online, based on your beliefs online. If it's not real life, then what are we talking about here? What is the conversation we're having?
His comics have no pull whatsoever in like the physical world with comics. It is only through social media.
Right.
He should be singing the praises of social media.
Like what? Like you see two comic books next to each other. What are you gonna buy? You gonna buy the latest issue of Wonder Woman, or are you gonna buy Goodying the Poly?
That's a tough one, Bob. I gotta think about that one.
But we're almost done here. The end part just made me laugh out loud here.
Thanks to all of the customers and fans of the Rippaverse. And if you don't like my politics, you can still buy my books.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. That line. If you don't like my politics, you can still buy my books.
You can still buy my little comic book. That's
what
crazy.
The actual fuck is this? So he literally wants to be DC or Marvel. That's the reality of it. He knows that he cannot sell his comics exclusively to conservative and anti-liberal communities. There's not enough money for his brand to grow. So he just wants to be the guy at the top. He made Sasuke Sisters lore masters. He's hired everybody else to write and draw and color his books. So what does he actually do at this point? What does he do? Like once he's done with Isom 3, is he, are we going to actually see another book written by him? He says he is, but are we actually going to see that? I don't know.
Now is he even gonna write Isom 3?
But like, what about after that? I feel like it's so sad that that conversation stops after Isom 3.
Yeah.
It's like
I'll be honest. If Eric July stops writing his comics, I don't think people are going to keep buying them. That's the reality of it.
No.
I think his comics obviously do the best for him. I don't think Guyver's going to do better than his comics. I don't think Gooding is going to do better than his comics. I think the next Isom will probably sell more than some of the other comics he releases.
There'll probably be a tick up with Isom 3, but I don't think it'll surpass Isom 2. But it has a solid chance of surpassing Albacore. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Wait, I just quickly wanted to show. I don't think we showed it. Just Goodying.
I know. I can't get over that. It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Dude, imagine being an old comic book creator who can't get hired and then getting a job and being told, oh, yeah, you're writing Goodying the Polymath.
Goodying the Polymath. That's crazy.
Fuck.
Basically a libertarian superhero. That's the storyline behind Goodying. So,
like, honestly, like the art for Yaira, like it looks decent. And like this to me, like it looks fine. this Goodying.
Yeah.
Like, is his name Goodying?
Yeah, I don't
know. Or is that what he's doing? He is Goodying.
Yeah, look, just like with everything we talk about, Yaira could actually be a good comic, but based on like ISOM 1, ISOM 2, and Alpha Core, I don't think it's going to have much of an identity. I think once Eric goes through and like, tells what, you can't do this, you can't do that, or whatever. Because I can't imagine Yaira being an interesting character as a woman, as a superhero, without diving into some of the identity of that part of her in this world. So
it would be funny though if like the only or one of the only women in this whole comic book world is like the most interesting and like the best written comic. That would be great.
Woke.
Wait, what DJ, you mentioned another one. What was it? Norfolka that there was?
Oh, Norfolka, yeah. It's these two characters that showed up in ISOM, where one of them is like a white guy with a bow and arrow, and the other one is a black guy with like, it looks like some sort of energy powers. So it looks like Green Arrow and Green Lantern basically turned into Norfolka, which is Norse and Africa.
So one of them is from the north and the other one is from Africa.
I mean, that's the theory right now, Norfolka.
I mean, what's great about this is that we don't even have to like come up with like a parody of this. This is just, I'm just looking at this and laughing because this is so bad.
Yeah, and I've read like all three of the comics, and like again, I don't know why anybody would want to continue reading that world, to be honest.
I started ISOM 2. I got to where he encountered the one dude. I don't remember the dude's name, but like the mutant dude or whatever. And I like, it was early in the book, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. I just don't care.
Yeah,
this is a chore. I guess.
Did we have another clip from Dane that we wanted to show before we like wrapped everything up? I thought there was.
Oh yes.
Well, I also saw chat want to go over the William Shatner stuff, which there's not a whole lot to, guys. But
sure, do it.
Do we want to do that before? Yeah, we can do that. Here, we'll do that real quick. So, a random dude on Twitter, so this is in response to the new Patrick Stewart movie, where essentially they're asking William Shatner, what do you think of the Patrick Stewart movie? And he said, hey, it sounds like a great idea. I hope it happens, essentially. And then, but will we ever see Captain Kirk again? And then William Shatner, all you have to do is look at the Paramount Plus graphics to answer that question, which... What?
So this is his, like, I'm not in this graphic, so you'll never see Captain Kirk again?
So it's essentially there's like one representative from each series, and it is Spock gets the representation from original series here. It doesn't have all the regulars, and fun fact, Kirk is a recurring character in Strange New Worlds. He actually had quite a few episodes in season 2, I want to say. And that actor's grown on me. I didn't like him initially, but he's grown on me. It's not William Shatner, because William Shatner's like 93. But yeah.
Damn.
But and also from Next Generation, they don't have Picard from that series. They have Picard from the Picard series.
Picard is the rep for the Picard series. Geordi is representing Next Generation.
Yeah.
But yes. But yeah, you scroll down here. You got Critical Drinker, you got Nerdrotic, because this is all their narrative, erasing, the white man, even though Spock is the rep from original series, who I think he's white.
I see at least one white man on there.
What are you talking about? He's not white. He's a Vulcan. What are you talking about?
Oh, good point. Yeah. We got Doomcock here. We got fucking Chris Gore here, all sucking up to him.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a chuddy-ish thing for William Shatner to kind of imply. And he's done this before. He's dabbled his toes. And I want to go ahead and play a clip that I got from him from Cincinnati Comic Expo. This is not a great quality clip.
Okay.
It's what I was able to get because it was a really crowded room. Essentially, I was bouncing between getting shots of the projector and shots of actually him. And I think this is mostly projector. So it's not great, but it's about a minute. But this will kind of give you a clear idea of why William Shatner will do stuff. It's him talking about The Masked Singer, by the way.
I almost passed out. Worst single experience of my life. I was so embarrassed, I didn't watch it. I didn't look at it. And both those guys have called it the worst thing you've ever done. That was my experience on this show that I was on, Masked Singer. I never saw it. I did it because I knew there would be publicity involved doing it, and I have all these things I'm doing, the book, the watch, two documentaries, all kinds of things that I'm publicizing, and so I thought that would be a good outlet. But what a choice, my Lord!
So I mean, it's pretty clear he does stuff for engagement, to get his name out there. You know, say what you will. Like, you go to his Twitter, he's getting attention on Twitter right now, and look, you know, he's talking about officials Master Universe art. I assume he's involved with that, but like, yeah, essentially you can find all types of stuff he's working on. This is just ways for him to get clicks, essentially. That's what he's going for. So whenever you see William Shatner say something kind of chuddy, keep this in mind. He's doing shit for clicks. I mean, he's an old man who, I don't know, I don't think he cares anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, when people admit to this kind of stuff, like, oh, I just do this for attention, it makes me not want to even like engage with it, because I feel like they're like, when they admit that, you can almost guarantee that they don't necessarily believe everything they're saying. Because right here, he's like, all you have to do is look at the Paramount Plus graphic to answer that question with a little winky face. I mean, does he really believe that? Or is that him just trying to get people to talk about it?
I mean, if you really want to break it down, like, it almost feels like, what are you throwing shade at Leonard Nimoy for not being proper rep for the original series?
Yeah,
because I would say that's good rep. That's good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's also just like, I think, telling of like the channels who are just instantly in the comments to like how defend him. They are so like, there are not many celebrities or like big personalities and stuff who like actually likes them. So whenever there's one that gives them even like a tiny hint of validation or something they can use, they're like on board and they're like, you are my hero. And so
I'm not the biggest fan of William Shatner in general, so it doesn't really shock me that,
he is a nice guy if you talk to him, but yeah, they're like, you gotta keep this shit in mind.
Like, listen, like, if you've ever listened to any of the other old school actors involved with like some of the older Star Treks, with their interactions with him, they don't have a lot of nice things to say about William Shatner. So,
oh no, they don't.
And they call him Bill. Like, if anybody that knows him calls him Bill, so they will all say Bill, because that's,
like I said, if you talk to him, like, he comes off as a nice guy. He is also very, to be blunt, he's very self-focused. He's very like me. He takes control of the conversation instantly, and it's all about him. That's just who he is. It all has to be, you know, he just wants attention, kind of. So literally, like, if you want to know kind of who William Shatner is, like, the best thing I almost want to recommend is, there is this, I think it's on YouTube, there's a special called like the Captain's
Yep, I remember that. That's a really good one. Yep.
It's Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Leonard Nimoy, and William Shatner. Literally, that conversation is, Jonathan Frakes had never met William Shatner before. The other two guys knew him, and Jonathan Frakes is trying to understand William Shatner, because William Shatner is literally just saying random fucking shit, and Jonathan Frakes is just like, the fuck is this? What are you saying? What are you in reality? It's so wild.
Would you say, just, I mean, based on like where we are now, I think William Shatner is probably the most detached culturally from Star Trek at the moment, in terms of like the OGs, because I think a lot of people would think of Picard and like Riker as more, you know, more of their era of Star Trek than like Shatner. I think the Shatner era, with the exception of Spock, it's kind of fading a little bit. Whereas we're seeing those characters come back in like Strange New World, but they're not the same actors. So William Shatner as Kirk is slowly fading out of like cultural relevance, I think. So
well, I think as long as Star Trek's around, it won't completely disappear. But I mean, the original series is very much like, I don't want to panic because there's some fucking brilliant episodes in the original series. but like it is also a product of the 60s. There's a lot of cheese in that original series too. And yeah, it can be fun, but yeah, it is what it is. And I will say TNG and a lot of the stuff from like the middle era is aging a lot better. And guys, New Trek is really good.
Yep.
Like, don't listen to these chuds. New Trek is really fucking good.
You might not like every series, but in general, there are some really good stuff. There's some really good Star Trek out there. So
I have serious issues with Star Trek Picard.
The first 2 seasons specifically. Like honestly, I think the season 3 was pretty good, but the first 2 seasons were a little rough.
I still have issues with season 3, but season 3 was the best of the 3.
I like Jerry. I like 7 of 9. So anything with her,
dude, like she is the best part of that series, without a doubt. I love seeing 7 of 9. I love seeing 7 of 9 do stuff without cat suit on, because the cat suit was so weird, especially going back and watching Voyager. It's like she's a great character, but oh my god.
I especially liked the the latest series, Ahsoka, I think. Yeah, that was.
That one. Yeah. We forgot Turf is not a Star Trek person; he's a Star Wars person. But anyway, is that it? We covered everything today? I think we're.
Yeah, I think that was everything we had on the agenda.
That was good. And everyone, remember, if you take one thing away from this, it's that people are human beings.
Yep.
And you should treat them. Yeah. You should treat them good. Treat them with kindness, and treat them with basic levels of respect that you also want you to be treated with. The more you know, you always learn something. We also just quickly have this to anyone who is missing Dane in here, actual fandom. We just have a short, this is actually like an outtake from his most recent video, which you can watch on his channel. So if you like this outtake, then you'll be like, damn, this was really an outtake? How good must the real video be? So let's check out this little clip from Dane himself.
Ripaverse goalposts, man. You kind of disappeared for a while. You haven't wanted to show up since the last time I covered you in a video. You are welcome to come on to one of my streams and explain a whole host of things that I'd love to ask you questions about, and I can answer questions to you as well. Why won't you do it? Goalpost was doing some stuff on the 17th, so not too long ago. But as I said here, I said you should pop onto my stream tomorrow and explain what a sub count has to do with the points being made. Because, and I want you guys to look at this in case you haven't ever seen it. Marvel and DC fanboy with 88,000 subscribers on YouTube says Eric July. It's okay. So he's talking about Ernie, Blurred Without Fear. What does the sub count have to do with the points being made? And he will do that every single time. He'll say something like, this out of shape, blah blah blah. And that's one of the reasons I know it's Eric, because Eric does it. This blah 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 person that's like unrelated descriptor, and what he's doing is he's giving his fucking goldfish brained audience, who can only latch on to one little thing. They don't even care about the situation. They don't care about the facts. They just need to be given one thing, one little crumb that they can use against his enemy. What he's doing there by saying, 88,000 sub. Now I can guarantee I can go over to Ernie's shit and see lots of people being like, "Oh, you only got 88,000 subs," because they're not engaging with the point. It's a thought terminating cliche, but it's also just kind of like a weaponized distraction.
Yeah.
No, it's a great point. This is a newer YouTuber. Apparently, he's doing 50 years of Logan. That sounds cool. I've never heard.
Oh wow.
I've never heard this Logan. Is that the Hugh Jackman movies?
Oh no! I think Logan Paul. I think.
Oh, dude, I didn't know he was that old. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a shithead, but I mean, he's aging well. I'll give him that.
He's aging very well.
No. Yes. Yeah, obviously, actual fandom. He is on a well-deserved break, guys, and he will be back soon. But go check him out. He's got a new video.
There's probably even people watching this from actual fandom's channel, which is cool.
What?
So
I better shut that down. Oh my god.
Oh god.
25 of you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But that's it. I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're good. Anything you guys want to shout out?
Subscribe to me. I'm trying to get to 1K on my channel. I'm at 860 something right now.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, subscribe to all of us. And guys, if you're watching and not subscribed to Organized Chaos, TurfNation, Eric Debunks, AirricksReloaded, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with your life? What are you doing with your life? Anybody can buy my comics. Anybody can buy my comics.
We're human beings. You need to remember that there are human beings behind these logos.
And we want you to buy our comic books, no matter what your political affiliation is.
Listen, we may be woke, but we're still human beings, okay? And we deserve respect. So thank you.
All right, that's it. Mic drop.
Yeah, I'll be. Let's see, my stream's supposed to be starting now. I'm going to delay that, guys, but I'll be starting in probably about 15 minutes on my.
No, start right this.
No,
minute.
Fuck that. I'm taking a break. My back's gonna be killing me today, but I'll get through these streams. But
listen, you are a hero, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're
everyone.
You're an inspiration.
Have a good one.
All right, see you guys.
I don't know.